Hey guys, ParsifalTube here, coming at you with another much shorter video about the new Blade Vortex changes in 3.3. I got some math in front of me, and for people who just want the short answer, yes, Blade Vortex was buffed. Not by a lot, but it was buffed. Alright, now getting into the specifics. I did some basic math here from the patch notes. Now the patch notes basically had it increase the crit rate, increase the hit rate, sorry, as well as increase the more multiplier, but they decrease the stacks to 10. Now, in my last video, I was super stoked about the changes because I thought it was a massive nerf buff. However, it turned out not to be as much as I thought it was because of the simple fact that with less stacks comes more multipliers, even though they did buff the more multiplier per stack. So let's go through this as quick as I can. Let's say the base damage is around 200. This is about 150 at level 20-ish. And then let's say you have about 50 added with like an added cold gem or something. So, and we'll make it simplified, of course. So with a total of 200% on the tree, this would make around 600, I would call it base damage, before more multipliers. Now the old more multiplier was 30% times the 20 stacks, which is 600% more, and now it's down to only 350% more. Because only 10 stacks. But it got about 35%. So basically, it used to deal 4,200 per hit. Now it only deals 2,700 per hit. Pretty big nerf. However, at the old hit rate, it hit about 5 times a second average with 20 stacks, but now it hits 7.5 times a second at only 10 stacks. Now that is important because at only 10 stacks, you don't have to charge it up as much. And with increased duration, you can leave it at 10 stacks for quite a long time. So over the course of, I averaged about 10 seconds, you get about 209,000 DPS. And with the new system, you get about 201% DPS. You're like, wow, that's actually decreased. Not as much because the new skill also comes with a 100% increased crit strike chance at level 20. Sorry, at 10 stacks. So that means that at 150% crit multi, you're looking at about an extra 6% DPS increase per 6% base crit. So it has 6% base crit, 100% makes it 12% crit. So that makes it about even if you add 6,000 DPS to that. This number, by the way, this is basically how much 12% of the damage is, and this is how much 6% of the damage is, and then multiply by 1.5, just to give like how much extra damage the crit would give you. Now, what would happen if we added even more multipliers? Would that change what the difference is? So let's say we had a 50% more multiplier, another 50% more multiplier. It's like an average between Control Destruction and Conk Effect. So that would give you 470,000 DPS versus 453,000. But that extra 6% crit strike chance gives you about 13,000, which would make it close to equal. So it's still close to equal, even though it's a little bit less. But if the fight lasts 30 seconds, so if you're going to have DPS, the fight lasts 30 seconds, then the numbers actually come really close from the old damage here to the new damage here. And it's still less, of course, but it actually will surpass the old DPS if you had that 6% increased crit. Now keep in mind that Control Destruction will actually make both old and new damages here stay at that 6% base crit. Control Destruction cannot make you lower than base crit strike chance, but it will completely negate the extra 100% increased crit you get on this new buff. But that will still help either way, any build that significantly builds crit in any way, because it's still 100% increased crit, even if some of it gets negated by Control Destruction. If you built crit, then some of that would get negated anyways too. So it's still helpful either way. So to the end of that effect, the new Blade Vortex hits faster, You don't need to charge it up as much, only to 10 stacks, which is a significant quality of life buff, I think at least. And on top of that, you have about the same DPS, or even more, at longer fights. So there you go. That's about it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.